What's up, people? How you doing, man? I was just sitting here overthinking this content stuff, and it's been a while now. I've been postponing a lot of stuff, especially the videos and the messages that I have to put out in the world and stuff. And last time I was on here, it was, if I remember correctly, because I didn't check on my YouTube channel, somewhere around 2023, probably October or November. I don't remember. I really don't remember. But I know it was in 2023. And I'm here to talk about what happened to me over there while I was over there in Russia, St. Petersburg, and to the best of my ability, I will try to explain to y'all the dynamic that led to these events and how I understand them now, because it's a constant readjustment of my mental comprehension of what happens, because what happens was so huge and I was so shocked, in a sense, like, psychologically I was so shocked. I was like, oh, really? And that led me to not only make a lot of research, but dig deep into myself to understand what happened. So boom, I went over there due to, I was traumatized in my country because I was studying, in the state university and stuff like that. And if you go back in the news in Haiti, I don't even remember how they call these people. It's like it's not the director of the faculty, but the person that is at the top of your faculty when you study in a university. So that guy literally passed a van on a student's body right in front of me, right in front of everybody else that was present during that time. Man, after that, coupled with, all these other stuff that were also happening, I was traumatized, and I was like, you know what? Let me just drop this university stuff. I'm smarter than the system anyway. What they're trying to teach me over there anyway, because the best teachers are already out. Everybody's absent. Nothing is really working. Nothing has a constancy over there. Let me just do my own thing. And then I isolated myself, got into deep meditation, and then in 2019, that was 2019. I mean, what had happened was in 2017, right? And then I took a pause. I put everything on hold, and then I went into my meditation isolation, like mode, like they say, right? And then in 2019, I wrote this book in April 2019. It was a book of aphorisms, and then like deep philosophical, mystical aphorisms that I would get from my meditation. Like I would sit or lie down or whatever position I would be in. And then during those meditations, I would hear thoughts, not really thoughts, but I would hear, like, you could say it was pretty much channeling, but sometimes it would be mixed with my own thought, with my own signature, if you could say it like that. And then I put this book, I wrote it by hand, and then I put it in my bag. And then from 2017, when I decided to quit the university, right, to drop out, I wanted to go elsewhere, like anywhere else. If you know Haitian and Haitian's history, from the jump, when we got our independence, we got these countries, basically France, and also the United States, and also some other countries. They but they actually had a collusion between themselves to keep their feet on our neck, so we don't grow financially as a nation, psychologically, so we don't get out of these colonial traumas, and all this type of stuff. So being Haitian is a really, it's a tough job. It's a prideful position, but at the same time, it's a tough job. It's a tough thing to be. And then I was like, you know what, man, let me see if I can get out this country. And then I have family in the U.S., still got family in the U.S. My sister was still living in New York and stuff like that. And then I also had other people in the States. I wanted to go there because growing up and my whole paradigm was a mix of Caribbean culture, Black American culture, and like world culture, international culture. Because we also speak French and we study a lot of other people's stuff when you're in 80, and and I was waiting. I was waiting like 2017. I'm still waiting 2018, and I'm still waiting. When I say waiting, like checking and everything, like trying to build your dossier or your case, to just get some stuff and get the fuck out of there. And then it never happened. It never happened. 2017, 2018 never happened. 2019 never happened. And then in 2018, while I'm still looking to do it, while I'm still putting the work in to do it, I got a call from my guy, from my friend from Russia. He was already in Russia, and he tells me, "Yo, what's up? Like, what are you doing? Where you at?" I'm like, "I'm in Haiti, bro. I wanna go. I wanna get out. I wanna get out so bad. I wanna be somewhere else because, you know, time's passing. I had finished high school, what they call high school in our country at 18. I was planning to be a psychologist by 22, right? And I was already dead 22, and I didn't finish the university stuff because I quit. And even if I didn't quit, I wouldn't be that psychologist at 22 because the system was all like trashed up, like it was crazy. Crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis, and then I tell my friend, "Yo, I want to get out so bad, man. Like, what's up? Like, can you help me?" And he's like, "You know what, man? I might have an opportunity for you. You know what I mean? But it's going to be through the university system. I can't get you an invitation here from a Russian university, and then you come here, and then you do your stuff and everything." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool, man. Let's do it." And then the first year, 2018, the first year we tried it, I couldn't go because we didn't have enough money. And then I gave that opportunity to my other friend, another Haitian friend, and he went there in 2018. And then in 2019, the second year, he redeemed, the invitation for me, and then I went there successfully. I got there, came to Russia, studied the language. I sat down in university to study the language for like 5 months because we arrived in October 2019. By October, November, December, that's 3 months. So basically 5 months we're sitting in the university studying Russian language. By the time it was 5 months, COVID hit, and nobody can go nowhere. I already had started working as an English teacher because over there you can really do nothing because the system doesn't really integrate you. They don't know you. They don't know, like, they can't integrate you. It's built to integrate other folks from other cultures, especially the countries that were part of the Soviet Union. You know what I mean? Or if you come from Europe, or if you come and not even the whole Europe, but Eastern Europe, because you have affinity with them. But if you come from far away, then they're just kind of sorry for you. You know what I mean? So, we go there. I have my linguistic aptitude. I speak many languages, so I started teaching French, teaching English. I was working with kids and everything, and then boom, COVID hit. When COVID hit, I was still in the dormitory, the student dormitory that we landed at. Not even in Moscow, but in Siberia. In another city called Novosibirsk. And then when COVID hit, I lost like 60 to 70% of my income due to the fact that I cannot go physically to do the job. So it becomes online, and the parents are not interested in paying you online to make the courses or the lesson for the kids because the online game is not the same as the in presence game. So boom, I'm like, all right, let me just and by the time February, March, April, time is flying by, and all the dudes that I came over there with, because while I was going there, I was also recruiting. I mean, not recruiting, but I was also giving the same opportunity to some other Haitians, and we flew there. We were 6 in total, plus the guy that had already flown there. That's seven of us, 7 Haitians in a dormitory. We were living with Nigerians and everything. It was cool. And then after COVID, I was like, man. After COVID hit, I was like, you know what? this is not it, because I cannot just keep on trying and hoping, trying and hoping, trying and hoping. Let me just ask around and let the people tell me, let the collective mind of the place tell me what should I do, because these people, when you speak their language, they would pretty much tell you everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. So every time, every time I go, I take an Uber. Every time I'm in a restaurant, every time I hang out with somebody, I'm like, what do you think I should do? I'm an artist. These are my aptitudes. I got language, I got art. I'm a smart guy. I'm a psychologist and everything. So what do you think? And everybody pretty much told me, yo, you need to go to St. Petersburg, because if you go to Moscow, Moscow is gonna eat, like, it's gonna eat your soul. They have an expression over there. Moscow is gonna eat your soul. You're supposed to go to St. Petersburg because this is the capital city for the artist. And then I'm like, all right, cool. It was around March, April, and then I'm like, okay, let me just finish my first mixtape. Let me just go about and do a first project, a hip hop project, a first album or a mixtape, whatever you want to call it. And then after that, I'm gonna go. By the time I finish my mixtape or album, whatever you want to call it, my first project, basically, my visa had already expired because I had a 1 year visa, right? I came, they gave me the visa in August, so it would expire August next year. August 2020, the visa is expired, and so I'm already illegal over there. But due to the COVID situation, the president just came out and said, every student that is here, international students, you guys are not illegal because you can't really renew your visa due to the COVID situation and everything. So you're pretty much legal. You can go, you can travel and everything. That's it. So I'm like, all right, cool, that's cool. I finished my first project. I did it. I even did a video. And then, without knowing anyone in St. Petersburg, I had no friend, no communication with anyone whatsoever. I took my baggage, and then I left. And I spent exactly 1 year, 365 days in Siberia, and I'm even writing a book about it. So, and I went to St. Petersburg, and then that was my second year. And I'm like, all right, cool. This city's nicer. It's bigger, it's more international and everything, and it's pretty much in Europe, so I think I'm going to get my, the opportunities that I was looking for. But little did I know, the system doesn't work the same as in Siberia. In Siberia, for example, I had succeeded in making some money with music, because I had a manager, a Nigerian manager, my brother had a mullah, and he had made sure, like, we got some money from, this music stuff. Even though I wasn't nobody at that time, but he's a very good businessman at what he does, and we had some success doing this. But in St. Petersburg, I'm alone, and then everybody's telling me, I see art everywhere, I see art shops, cafes and everything, like everything breathes hard over there. So I'm like, man, that's cool. And then I get hypnotized. This is what I call getting hypnotized by the architectural beauty, by the outside frame or the outside field. You know what I mean? I get hypnotized by the outside field, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me settle here. Let me just go to the studios. Let me just go to the studio every day. Just putting the work. Putting my reps and everything. And I go about doing that for like 1 year. That was 2021. And then I get exhausted. I get drained because I'm trying to do everything, because I'm trying to do multiple things at once, and it's not the same. It's a lot of struggle, a lot of scamming, because I got scammed a lot over there for if you want to rent an apartment, for example, you're gonna get scammed. And it's not even about me being a foreigner. It's just, this is how St. Petersburg is. This is the vibe over there. You're gonna get scammed regardless. You know what I mean? Whether you're white, whether you're Russian, whether you're African, like, you go over there, you're trying to rent some apartment. If you're not getting direction from somebody, from a local, most probably you're gonna get scammed. So I got scammed multiple times, and then fast forward 2021, I didn't put out any project because the struggle and everything. But I was still recording. And I even won while I was living in a hostel I won the first place in a verse in a 16 bars challenge. 16 lines, 16 bars challenge that a Russian rapper had organized. Crazier boy, this guy's called. And then I'm sitting in a hostel, and then this guy from Siberia, one of my friends, a producer, he calls me. He's like, bro, there is this rapper in St. Petersburg, and he's doing an open verse challenge. A 16 bars challenge. Like, there is a beat, there is everything. So uh, you should apply. You should participate. You should partake in it. I'm like, yeah, cool, man. That's not a bad idea. Send me the information, and they send me everything. And I sit in my hostel. Literally, I sit in my hostel. I remember it like yesterday. A small room. Our hostels are like 2 bedrooms. Bedrooms with stairs and everything. Like, and then there was nobody during that time. I think it was in summer or some shit. And then I wrote my 16 bars, in English. I had some bars over there in Russian too, in Russian language too. And then I go to the studio, I record my stuff, and then I submitted it. And then next week they give the results, and I'm number one over there. And then I end up in the feature with Crazier Boy Mine. Everybody knows. I mean, not everybody, but his fans became accustomed with this guy. Like, Psycho, this guy, oh yeah, this guy got bars and everything. He's a young guy, young cat, trying to make his way and everything with this music stuff. And then some friends invited me to some other cities, in the context of making music. So there is that city called Sochi. It's like the Miami, it's like the Miami of Russia, right? It's in the south side. It's close to the, it's a coast town. It's a beach town. Very beautiful, rich people living there. It's basically just like Miami, man. And then I go there. A friend of mine invites me there. I go there, and you see all this, wellness type of vibe in the city, because rich people, when they get bored with their money and they don't know what to do with it, they pretty much turn into the wellness lifestyle. They do yoga, meditation, and everything, And then I'm seeing these, and there is also music stuff going on. And while I'm there, if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, I spent like 3 weeks in Sochi. 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And while I'm there, I'm doing a lot of stuff. Basically, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I went to a community in the mountains called Costa Rica, spiritual community. Met with some beautiful beautiful people, beautiful women, beautiful men. When I say beautiful, I'm talking about physically. I'm talking about energetically. And then through contacts, through socialization and everything, I end up performing in the theater of Sochi, in the the theater of the city, the theater of the downtown theater of the city. I end up performing there, not rap music, but playing drums, because I played drums since I was a kid. Like, I was born playing drums, so I played the drums. And then there was a woman over there dancing and singing, and then my friend who invited me there, he was carrying the girl like like a strong man and everything. It was cool. And then we won a prize for it. That was really dope. And then after that, some bullshit was starting. The bullshit starting, because the bullshit is the invisible barrier of fakeness. When you're hanging out with people and something is off, like it's fake, and it's not really about color. I don't want to just reduce this to just color, or not really. I think it has to do with soul. It has to do with realness, And while I was there, after the performance and everything, after Costa Rica, after all this, here comes the bullshit, but from the music side. Because the producer, that my friend told me, yo, come here, you're going to work with this producer and everything. Nah, bro, that guy is just a straight up, I don't think he even has, I think he's a straight up NPC, if I'm being honest with you. I think he's an NPC, which just just doing his thing. And guys like me, or just people like me in general, we shouldn't mingle with these types of with this type of people, because it's not beneficial for us in any way, shape or form. And then he try to manipulate me. He try to get some lick out of me. He doesn't get it. I end up leaving Sochi to Moscow, because while I'm in Sochi, somebody else, oh, and not to cut your listening, but while I'm in Sochi also, I was invited in a video shoot, and the video shoot is still on YouTube and shit. And you see me dancing in this video and everything, having my fun. And then after making this video, after appearing in this video and performing in a party and meeting with this guy, Betty the Best, Betty the Beast or Betty the Best, I don't really remember. And then he's in Moscow, and then another guy calls me, another Russian guy calls me and say, bro, I'm living in he was a manager of a really like a big house and everything, like a big house, like a castle. And then he's like, bro, come here, we got a project. I got a big idea. I want it to materialize. I know you got a lot of talents. You know how to write. You know how to draw. Pretty much, you know how to create stuff from the invisible world. So let's do some shit. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I booked the ticket, and he sends a car, to take me to pick me up from the airport. We drive to this big house and everything, like 60 kilometers away from downtown Moscow. And then I spent like a week there. I met with another girl. She was a painter, but she had she had her Kundalini energy like stuck somewhere, like in the base, at the base, like, because she draws these things, she draws these beautiful paintings, but she cannot really theorize, she cannot really explain, she doesn't even understand them. She just draws them instinctively, like like a machine, right? But when you ask them, what does that mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? She can't really intellectualize. She doesn't even understand. She can't even tell you how she feels when she, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, that's that's interesting. So while we were in this big house over here, I end up getting offered some stuff, but the format wasn't really my format. You know what I mean? What they were on wasn't really what I was on. And I ended up being the person, how do I say that? Being the bigger person. It's like, oh, shoot, you thought you would invite me here and you would take advantage of my energy and I wouldn't know, or I would just give it away like, like I don't know its value, and then you would end up having everything that you want, like success and everything from this energy, and then I would get some peanuts out of it, some pennies. And I'm like, oh no, this is not how I function, and I'm really sorry for you now, because you're in a situation where you can't really build up your own energy to do stuff. You have to recruit others and take energy from them. And I'm like, oh, that's sad, that's really sad. So while I'm in Moscow, I after coming to the realization that it's not gonna be possible with this type of people, because they don't have energy. They get the material infrastructure, that a guy like me could use to boost himself, to push himself further. But at the same time, the materiality for me is not worth it. And then I end up performing in another event, blasting it off and everything, good experience. And then after that, I stayed in Moscow for like maybe 2 weeks, and then I go back to St. Petersburg. When I go back to St. Petersburg, I say, you know what, that's it. I've seen it all. I've been to Siberia, been to Sochi, been to Moscow, been to St. Petersburg. There is nothing here for me. I want to go out. This is 2021. This is end of 2021. And then I came back to the city. I'm homeless. I don't have anywhere to go. And I go back to staying at my friend's house, And then while I'm there, I'm just recovering because I got sick. I'm down. My energy is drained and everything. I'm like, you know what? Let me just get back on my feet and, get the fuck out of there, because this is not for me at all. And even my friends over there, the Russian guys, they're telling me, bro, you should leave, because you do not fit. Your presence here does not fit with the structure of the country, with the structure of our society. You're too cool for this. Go somewhere else where they will understand your coolness. Over here, we see, but we cannot reciprocate that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nigga, you're definitely right. And End of 2021, I get really sick. My throats and everything. Like my throat is sick. Like I can't do shit. Like I'm like, oh, let me just recover. Boom. 2022 comes out, and in 2022, right after the COVID shit ended, and I was predicting it too. I was telling all my friends, you know what? You see this COVID stuff, like it's not original, right? It's not real, right? And they were like, no, it's real. No, and I'm like, all right, cool. Now that it starts to die down, one day once they see it's dying and dying and dying, they're gonna come up with some new stuff, and then everybody's gonna forget about it, like it never happened. And then they're like, no, this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna happen. And what ended up happening? February 2022, we got the news everywhere in Russia. There is a war. Not really a war. They did not call it a war in their terms, but you know what I'm saying. They're like, there is a conflict between Ukraine and Russia. This is the situation right now. Every foreigner, if you can leave, you may leave because this is what's happening and everything. And I'm there and I'm like, and all the brains, the Western brains, everybody that had ties with Russia that was doing business with them, they were like, you know what, we're gonna leave. Like all the money transfers and everything. And mind you, I'm homeless. You know what I mean? My family's taking care. Sometimes they send me some shit, but it's not nice, bro. You know what I mean? It's not nice. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna stay here and die. I'm not just gonna stay here and die. I'm already up 26 minutes, so I think I'm gonna do a part 2 for this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna stay here and die. And then I start praying. And by that time, end of 2021, I was at my friend's house. Beginning of 2022, I was hopping from place to place. And during that time, when I was, praying every night, I was living in a hostel. And then I was like, you know what? Like, do something. Because I'm not in my place of origins. I'm not in my place where I fit. This is a cold place, And by the way, it is in Russia that I discovered, that I realized that hell is not hell is not hot. Hell is cold. Hell is a cold place. It's not really hot. Nah, it's not hot, bro. Hell is cold. And then I'm like, you know what, do something. I'm talking, to the spiritual guys, to, anything, just any consciousness that is responsible, to guide me, to direct me, to take care, like, to help me, to teach me some stuff, like anything that's responsible to keep me alive and going, do something. And then, boom, I get this call from that lady, a friend of mine. And then she's living in the States and everything. And then she's like, how are you? It's been a long time since we talked and everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm fine. But my situation is so fucked. As a man, I don't even want to tell you. You know what I mean? I'm not even comfortable telling you what is happening. It's that bad. And she's like, you know what? Say no more. And next week, before the money transfer companies dipped out, because they already gave the news, like we're gonna dip out in 1 or 2 weeks. In February, they gave the news. Western Union, MoneyGram, all these money transfer companies, they're like, you know what, we're cutting ties with Russia. If you get something, if you want to receive some money, do it now, because we're going. And then the lady sent me some money, and then with this money, I said to myself, you know what, this is it. Either we jump, or we're gonna stay stuck forever. Scared money don't make money. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care where it's gonna from, where it's gonna come, where it's coming from. Just like the the power music say, legal or illegal, legal or legal or illegal, baby. I gotta make it. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta make it. I don't know where it's coming from, but I gotta make it. And then through contacts and everything, I started doing my thing, and then I put up a clothes business. I'm selling my clothes because I'm black over there. When you're black, you're exotic. I got style. I make hip hop. I start selling my clothes over there, and then I'm selling hoodies. Even if I'm not wearing my own stuff, right? I still look fresh as fuck, and everybody's looking at me in the streets, and that alone gives me an opening to talk to them and present them with my products. And then I keep selling on stuff, and then I keep selling on stuff, and then through my contacts, I go to clubs, I go to bars, because I already know, based on my previous year, 2021, that St. Petersburg is not really a business city. It's a conservative, artsy, like type of environment. Do not go there if you want to make money. You want to make money, go to Moscow, but you have to be a beast. You have to be a monster. You have to have thick skin. You know what I mean? You have to be able to walk over people over there to make some money. Me, I can't do it. It's not in me, you know. And then, but I realized in St. Petersburg, it's not the city for artists like me to just make money. You're just not gonna make it. They're not gonna pay you because music for them is a hobby. It's not really a business. Nobody gives a shit. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just make this business about something else, about clothes, appearances, stuff like this, modeling and shit. And then we keep doing that. We're coming up. I went from hostels to living in a room, to living in my own apartment, to having not only one apartment but another office. You know what I mean? So in summer 2022, that was my best time in Russia. Like, I'm in St. Petersburg. I have my business. Like, I'm having a blast, bro. I get everything on lock. You know what I mean? I had pretty much, bro. I was having fun. You know what I mean? And then here comes the point where I say, you know what? I got the financial situation figured out. I already also invested in arbitrage stuff. I wasn't doing it, but my other guy, another Haitian, really genius guy, who was in Moscow, he's like, bro, if you're making this money, invest in my stuff. I'm smart enough. I studied this shit in university. I can make you money. And then I started investing. And a nigga is making $100 every day. You know what I mean? Every day. I'm making $100 every day. I don't even have to work anymore, but I'm still working because I love to hustle. And then I'm making music. I'm collaborating with everybody. I'm taking everybody in. Like, come in. I'm taking everybody in. And then to make this clothes stuff even go even farther, I buy heat press. I buy design and stuff, But the thing was, in my mind, I'm doing this, and I'm doing it with my guys, right? I'm doing it with the people around me. But little did I know, they're only with me when it's working. If it doesn't work, and especially if it was my idea, let's say, for example, some of them even told me, don't buy the heat press, bro. Don't buy the heat press. It's not a good idea. Don't buy the heat press. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to buy the heat press. I buy the heat press. Everybody's happy. We start printing clothes. Everybody's happy. But the first run, I'm like, let's not sell these clothes. Let's give it out for free. Let's give them out for free because nobody knows us. And the design wasn't my design. The design is that guy's design, which is not really a problem. I don't give a shit. But let's not sell them. Let's give them out for free because nobody knows us. Nobody knows the brand, right? And so long story short, the heat press stays without any work because I'm more focused on music. I'm more focused on creating content. I'm more focused on making videos, going to the studio, doing my stuff. And during that time, I don't even write anymore. I just go in the booth and just spit. Like, I had probably like 2 projects, straight up freestyles. I had a whole album of freestyles, bro. Like 12, 13 tracks, just freestyles. Verses, hooks, chorus, all freestyles and everything. And everybody in the studio just like, whoa, what the hell? Like, this is another level. I'm freestyling, I'm doing my own stuff, and then something hit me. And it tells me, you know what? You have to make sure you have a catalog, a quality catalog, not just anything that, nah. Your purpose here, your goal here should be to build a music catalog And then once you're not gonna be, I mean, once you're not here anymore, at least you will know, okay, I went to Russia, it was crazy, it was hell, but at least I built my music catalog that I can now go and sell and present to the people and market on the internet and socialize with, and you know what I mean, distribute and everything. And so I made it my goal from end of 2022 onward or forward to just build my catalog. Mind you, I'm losing a lot of money trying to do other stuff too. Trying to legalize my ass, because I was illegal, trying to legalize my stuff, and I'm getting fucked over by the Haitians because we have no embassy in Russia. Haiti doesn't have any embassy over there. So you have to, for example, to renew your passport, and I got fucked over in the renewal process. I got fucked over by the Haitians. I'm getting fucked over everywhere, actually. But I keep my head forward, you know what I mean? I keep my head forward. I keep my head down and I keep going forward because I know this music stuff is the only thing that matters to me. You know what I mean? So I keep going, I keep going, I keep going. And by the end of 2022, I get fucked over by multiple people. By some Russian guys, by some Haitian guys, multiple people, left and right. And at the same time, I'm getting fucked. And then I'm like, shit, you know what, man? Let's just close everything. Let's just close everything and take a break because I can't keep going like this. And then February, March 2023, I just closed everything. I had received my passport after 1 year. Usually, when you need to renew your passport over there, it takes 3 months. But for me, that shit took 1 fucking year, and I paid it twice. The first time I paid it, I paid the normal price, right? The second time I paid it, I paid double the first price because I wanted it to come in express mode, but it didn't. You know what I mean? For the first time, I waited 8 months. The second time, I waited 4 months. And after 12 months, I'm waiting for a damn passport. I'm like, you know what, man? Yeah, I think it's time for us to just get the fuck out of there because, first of all, I cannot sell my music here. Nobody's buying it. Second of all, the business I'm doing is just giving me enough to just live a normal lifestyle. It's not a rich guy lifestyle. It's not, nah. And I'm like, yeah, let's just make this music stuff and then let's just get the fuck out of there. And in 2021, I did a lot of teaching work for the kids, going on camp, summer camps, and doing this. I traveled to Estonia, some other countries, Abkhazia, and I met my guy William, legendary dancer, still in Russia. My guy, you should watch him, man. One love. And I said, you know what, man? Let me give him the blueprint, my blueprint, how I do it, how I came up, how I went from living in hostels, homeless, eating ramen and water every day, to now having my own apartment, having an office, selling my stuff, selling my clothes, doing, doing my stuff, man. And before I was going every day, and I gave him the blueprint. I explained to him everything, and then I even remember some Russian girls were telling me, I see you almost every day because we were working on design stuff because she was a designer. And once she was in my house and she was, she told me, I don't understand how you do it. And then I'm like, how I do what? And then she's like, every day for you is a wonderful day. It's not even a good day, but it's a wonderful day. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's what I mean. How do you do it? I'm like, and I explained it to him. It's gonna take me a whole lot of videos to just explain it, but I explained it to them. And she's like, you know what? In Russia, we don't believe it like this. We believe that actually we're even afraid of the good days because if we're having a good day, we already know some bad days are ahead of us. We're gonna have some bad days tomorrow. We're gonna have some bad days after tomorrow. And I'm like, you know what, man? A bad or good day, the power resides in you. The power is in your hand to decide whether it's gonna be a good day or not. You know what I mean? And she said, yeah, I know, it's another paradigm, it's another, perspective, it's another view, it's another philosophy and everything. I'm like, yeah, boom, boom. And then just to explain to you guys, I was having a blast. And then March 2023, I got my passport. I had it in April or March, somewhere around that April, March. Yeah, I think it was April actually. Nah, maybe end of March. Yeah, I think it was end of March. And then I get my passport and I contact another guy and I say, you know what, man, I want to get to the American continent. I want to go back. How can you help me? And he's like, bro, give me this amount of money and then I'm gonna get you a visa, to this country, and then that's it. You're gonna get there. I'm like, all right, cool, man. That sounds like a good plan. And then I'm doing this while I'm in total isolation. I'm living in isolation. I don't see my friends anymore. I don't do the same stuff anymore, and I'm starting to give out stuff for free. I had a lot of clothes, hoodies, sneakers, everything. I'm starting to give out stuff for free. I'm starting to give them out because it's like Seven Bowmore likes to say, like, there's a weight, like it's a weight, you know what I mean? It's a weight on your shoulder, like just give it away, like. And then I spent from February, not even February, but I think it was January, because in December 31st, 2022, I had a dream. Like I don't know what's up with me, but every time the year is changing, I have a dream. And they come and they tell me, you know what, this year is going to be that type of year, and this is what you have to do. And December 31st, I had a dream, and they told me, you know what, this is time for you to leave. And from January to around July, I'm in total isolation, and I'm doing meditation heavy. I'm doing heavy meditation. I'm telling, okay, for you to understand, I do, during that time, right, especially from March to July, because the second 3 months, January, February, March, it was, this is the getting up phase. This is the getting up phase before you can run, you know what I mean? So this is the getting up phase. I'm getting back to my meditation, and mind you, I've been meditating for more than a decade now. I've been doing meditation. I started meditating back in 2010. Yeah, back in 2010. I was 13 years old. So, and then yeah, I'm going in with my meditation. I'm going in, and from March to July, I'm doing minimum 6 to 7 hours meditation, and I'm sleeping 4 hours. Like, I have it like a baseline of 4 hours. I'm not sleepless. I don't have any mental issue. I don't feel that I don't sleep enough. Like, I have the right amount of it. Actually, I have a surplus of energy, and I have enough money to afford this type of lifestyle. I'm working from home. I'm giving stuff away and everything, But because of the war stuff that had started in 2022, it started in 2022, but by the time we hit 2023, my guy from Moscow calls me and tells me, bro, they didn't cut it, but they froze my account. I'm like, what? My guy was doing the online arbitrage stuff, with the crypto, USDT and stuff. And I'm like, what happened, bro? And it's like, due to the war situation, the company I was working under, the company where I created my account, right? They put my account on hold because, I'm in Russia. I got Russian document, I got a Russian visa, Russian, everything. And even if I'm Haitian, I have nothing to do with this thing going on with this war, but they froze my account. I don't have access to the money, and I cannot keep up with it. I cannot keep on doing this. I'm like, fuck. Just like this, my second stream of income, which was a steady $100 every day, just got cut off just like that. You cannot take the money out, and you cannot keep on working it, just because he is located in Russia. And I'm like, damn. So now I have to go back working my ass off every day, which is not a problem, but at the same time, I know it would disturb or change the run that I was already at, the spiritual run that I was already at, like meditating every day, minimum 6-7 hours. Like for real. And during that time, this is what I think some people call in the East when the dream world becomes one with the waking world. During that time, like from March to July, for me at least, I mean, not at least, but for me, I had started to notice the outer, what we call the outer field, because it's not really out, but the pushed out field, the pushed out matrix, the pushed out simulation. For me, it started to, the veil literally came off. And I could see, for example, because it happened multiple times with people, I would be at somebody's house, I would hear or see them doing some stuff, and I would interact with what I saw them doing, and then after that they would tell me, no, I didn't do that, I did that yesterday. Or I did that last week. It's like I'm starting to notice the energetic signature, right? The etheric, like, line, I mean not lines, but the etheric field, the etheric signature of people. It's like a residue, the energetic residue of people. I was sitting at a house of a producer, a legendary guy, a rapper, Russian rapper, old school guy, love, black culture and everything. And I'm sitting in his house. I'm sitting on the floor because I like to sit on the floor, not on a chair. I like, just to sit right on the floor. And I see him getting up and saying, let me put up this music right now. Let me put up this beat right now. And I tell him while I'm sitting, I'm telling him, oh, you're going to put this beat, right? You want to put this beat, right? And he says, what? I'm like, you just said, let me put on this beat right now. Because every time I go to his house, we do some freestyles and everything, always a good vibe. A nigga Ruslan, and his name is Ruslan. And then he says, no, I stood up, but I didn't say anything. I just thought something, but I didn't think what you said, I said. But yesterday, I was sitting at the same place. I stood up and I told myself, let me put up some beat. And I'm like, oh shit. So what I just saw and heard wasn't you from just now, but you from yesterday. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah. And we're both like, our eyes are like lit up like this. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, damn. And he's like, yeah, bro, you're onto some shit. And it's like, damn. And he's also a guy that's tapped into energetic stuff, metaphysical stuff, and he tells me, you know what? I think you should take a pause, just take a break, go into nature, because if you start to notice if the lines, the borders of physical reality and let's say astral or etheric reality, if the borders start to come off for you, that means you're already on the frontier, you're already on the border, you know what I mean? You're already like, and I'm like, yeah, but for me, like, it's normal. And he's like, yeah, of course for you it's normal, but I'm just telling you because you just told me some shit that is kind of spooky. And I'm telling him, yeah, all right, cool. And then boom, I go to my house. And then I'm like, shit, that was crazy. And then, you know what? I'm going to end this video by 15 minutes. And then I'm going to do a part 2, maybe tomorrow or after tomorrow. Just, just to keep on with the story. And then, just to sum it up, during that time, 2023, I go on this meditation run and I'm meditating heavy. And then by July, I hit the crisis period where all my chakras, or so it seemed to me, I opened up all my chakras. And from there, I'm going to start the second video from that period, from July 2023 onward. And then hell breaks loose from that period, from the third week of 2023 all the way up to November 2023, to where I leave the country I don't want to deal with Russians anymore. I ate everything about Russia and everything, and I'm in a crisis and everything, and all the way up to now where I can fully, let me not say fully, but I can comfortably sit back and look at the majority of the things that had happened, that had transpired, and make some balanced, conclusions about them. Because mind you, while all this stuff was happening, a lot of people were trying to redirect me in some other path, you know. And because of all the amalgamation, because everything to me during that time made sense. It's like, especially when your upper chakras are open, everything makes sense. If you hear a cricket make a noise, when I say make sense, I'm not talking at the base 3D level reality. Oh, the cat just meow meow. Okay, that's no. I'm talking like the cats makes meow meow, and that meow meow has a way deeper sense. It's like on an existential, metaphysical level. You know what it means. You know where it leads to, and you know the lines. You can see the threads. You can literally see the threads, either in your mind or even physically. You can see the threads of energies, and you know what they mean, and you can tap into them, just like in Lucy. That shit was crazy. It's already 51 minutes. Let me just cut this video, put it on YouTube, and then I'll see you guys in the second part. Alright, peace.